Hello, my creative friends, and welcome to Painting in Your PJs with Minette. I'm Dr. Minette Riordan. It's a cold Sunday afternoon, and I had some extra time, so I thought I would pop into the studio and do some prep work for making paper dolls. If you subscribe to our email list, you're going to get pages and pages of these paper doll faces in full color. But what I did was to print them out in black and white, and I want to color my own and make them my own. And I thought I would show you one of the fun ways that I might do that is using Caran d'Ache Neocolor II, one of my favorite art supplies, and I realize I haven't played with them in quite a long time. So welcome. If you're brand new here, I am Dr. Minette Riordan. I live in beautiful Loveland, Colorado, and I am a midlife transformation coach who is passionate about using art as a process for discovering and reclaiming all those missing parts of ourself that we left behind on our journey through life. And what more fun way to do that than through using paper dolls to play and explore all the parts of ourselves. And today I'm just painting faces, so I won't be talking a lot, maybe sharing a few little tips or things that I might think about along the way. But what I've discovered, know about my own creative process is when I take some time to cut collage images ahead of time, when I take some time to batch color faces or to outline bodies. I have a few different projects on the go. I've been working on making some new different doll templates to play with from various magazine images. So I have a lot of different things that I'm contemplating. But I had printed out this set of faces in black and white, and I'm finding that the color ones are so much fun, but I really am loving this idea of coloring them myself. I've done that so far with some acrylic paint, which worked great. I have covered one page with Daniel Smith watercolor grounds to see if I could watercolor some of the faces. Let me go ahead and change my camera over here. Oh, and I'm trying not to sneeze over here. So when I'm looking at this page, so I painted over the top of this page with some clear gesso. This is just plain old printer paper. Hi, Anne. Thanks for stopping by on a Sunday afternoon. This is just plain old inkjet printer paper. It's not fancy paper. So I want to make sure, one, it has a little more texture, and two, that the paper is not going to fray and get holes in it when I start to add wet media. And India sounds amazing. So I hope you had an amazing trip. So I love these faces. I wanted to work on this page today and on this page of, hey Blanca, happy Sunday. And I really love this page of older faces as well. And of course, as soon as I turned on the camera, my nose is going bonkers. So I'm going to mute myself here for just a moment. Okay, there we go. No one needs to listen to me blowing my nose. So what I've got here are, I have a nice cigar box full. I love cigar boxes. I had an artist date today and went to a little local antique flea market mall type place. Hello from North Wales, Carolyn. Thanks for stopping by. So I have Neocolor II by Caran d'Ache. I love these. These are a water-soluble crayon with a lot of pigment. They have beautiful, bright, vibrant colors. And so I wanted to see what it would be like to color some of these faces. And again, that clear gesso, you could also cover the paper with matte medium. Well, lucky me, Blanca, you are sitting here coloring and we can color together. So I don't have a lot to chit chat today, but I thought it would be fun to just come in and maybe play together and show you how I might add some color to some of these faces. Again, you could very easily do this same process with matte medium over the top of the page before you paint them. You could color them with colored pencils, which I'm going to try also. And a tip I learned, and now I'm forgetting her name, a painter I really love. She loves clear gesso because it has this amazing tooth on it, and you can actually do colored pencils really nicely over the top of clear gesso. So it's a great tool, and I love the Liquitex one. I watch for them when they're on sale and stock up, and it's a great thing to add to your studio. Matte medium works, but it's smooth like acrylic paint. It does not have the same texture as the gesso. So there's something about that texture of the gesso that is really wonderful. So again, as I mentioned, these are water soluble. I haven't had a stuffy nose all morning. There must be some dust in the studio this morning or something. So there's a couple of different ways, and I don't have my matte medium. I might have to go grab my matte medium. So I'm going to start simply with that color right onto the page. I'm just going to blend those colors right on the page. And again, if you're brand new or just stopping by, if you subscribe to our Paper Doll Chronicles email list, you will get notified about new videos and you'll get templates, including the templates for all of these faces. So I created all of these faces with the inspiration of AI. And I'm noticing just how the color is adhering here. We use a tool called Midjourney, and it is fabulous for creative inspiration. Silly nose. So this morning I had my husband for my artist date this week. It's very snowy here, so we went to one of the local little antique sort of flea market malls because I had seen somebody talking about having some scrapbook ephemera, which she did, and that was fun, and I bought some of that. But I also bought, and I'll share a short later today here on my channel too, with a video of some old Vogue. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. All right, we're going to have to fuss with focus here, so bear with me. And I bought these two beautiful old Vogue pattern magazines, which are fabulous for paper doll inspiration. I can't wait to figure out what I can do with those. Again, apologies, my sinuses all of a sudden just went bonkers. All right, so already I feel like I am starting to really make her my own. And the dolls are intended to be from different backgrounds, different cultures, but you can take these and make them completely your own. And I think what I love about this is I love watching them come to life. And it makes me think about the 100-day project, which is coming up, and I'm trying to decide if I'm going to stick with the paper dolls and do 100 days of paper dolls. I also have an animal project in mind, and I'm not sure. All right, so she's sweet, she's coming together. The paper's holding up pretty well here. I'm not going to put color down here on her neck. It looks like, there's some fabric of her shoulders because this is going to get cut out and used as part of another paper doll. So you can use the Car into Ash Neocolors direct like this. but you can also blend them ahead of time or even right on the page with matte medium, which also gets some really wonderful, vibrant colors going. So it's hard to see in the light of the screen, but now she has some gorgeous green eyes. That should brighten it up. It's going to be, and I can even bring some of that green in for some shading. And some of these feel like they want to be realistic, and some of them feel like they want to be a little more playful and make-believe. And because my hair is certainly getting grayer all the time, it feels like I want to give her a little more character. I love that so many of these had buns. Like, it's not a hairstyle I think about, but I loved how it showed up. So one of the challenges with the Car into Ash, because I've had these for a while, is the tips are dull. And I'm wondering if I can sharpen them. All right, I'm going to mute myself again just for a second. All right, she's pretty cute. And I'm wondering, I want her eyelashes to stand out. So this is, going to be one of these fun experimental opportunities. So I could come in with some light. Oh, I like the pencil. So just coming in with that pencil and bringing back in a little more of the shadows and that little more of that detail. So don't be afraid to mix and try different kinds of supplies, layer them up. Now I happen to pick up a pencil that is water soluble, so I have to be very mindful of that. I don't want to get more water on her here. But all of a sudden I have this lovely face that I can add to one of my handmade paper dolls. And if you're new around here, I have in the first video for the Paper Doll Chronicles, I shared a template for a large paper doll. Let me see if I can find her. That looks like this one. She's quite long, and this is one of the pre-colored faces. And I'm noticing that actually this size of face is probably a better size on her, but you're going to want to each of the pages of the dolls has different size faces. And when I'm looking at some of these doll templates that I'm playing with, I'm noticing this is going to be for a very large doll, right? So this doll is going to be, these faces are going to be way too large for some of the dolls that I've been working on. Let's see, what's this one? Here's one that I started with as a template, and I did some journaling on at the beginning of the year. Well, that looks about right, right? So I'm noticing as I'm creating these faces, am I wanting to work this large? Am I wanting to perhaps work a little smaller? I don't know. And I don't need to color all of the faces. I want to color the ones that I'm most drawn to. I do really like all of these. They feel a little bit cubist, right, in style. She lost her fire there. All right, get you guys back out of the way. So I'm really loving this one, and it looks like she has this beautiful flower in her hair, and I'm also thinking maybe she needs some longer hair. So I'm just going to come in and start playing with some color. And all of these are going to have a dark undertone because there's a little bit of grayscale on this paper. Maybe make her lips match. So she has a darker skin tone than that first doll. If you've never used the Caran d'Ache crayons before, they're pretty magical. Again, they're Neocolor II. They also make a Neocolor I. Give her a little bit longer neck there. That is not water soluble, so you want to make sure you get the water soluble one. And I'm wondering if we can just give her some hair. So everything's starting to look the same color, so I want to make sure I come back in and add some variation in the color. I love this yellow ochre color. Feels like want to darken up that hair a little bit. And it might be something that I get her onto a bigger sheet of paper and add more hair. I'm constrained by the, space that's here on the page. All right, let's get a little water on here and see what happens. So why paper dolls? So last spring, last June, my friend Leslie and I hosted a beautiful retreat called the Time Travelers Retreat. It almost got a little bit too much water on there. And we made these really wonderful time travelers. And we integrated those time travelers into a whole storytelling process. She and I are both creative depth coaches, and having these characters that moved, what I noticed over the next couple of months, and then I had done a couple of my popular mythical makeover experiences, which we have one coming up soon. What, sweetie? An hour, please. I have a chicken in the oven, so I asked my husband to turn the temperature down. This is live. This is live. It's what's happening in my house on a Sunday afternoon. I like that color. Feels a little orangey. So I'm going to want to blend probably some white back in there. Brighten that up, or maybe even a little bit more of the brown. But I love these for creating the texture of the faces. But I found as I continued on my journey with my art journaling that my figures didn't want to be attached. They wanted to travel in my journal. They wanted to be able to move around and tell different stories. And then that led to creating actual paper dolls in some of my programs. And I've become a little obsessed. And so on this channel for the rest of this year, I'm going to be making paper dolls. Specifically paper dolls that represent different aspects of myself. And I'm looking at all of these faces through that lens of thinking about what are the ones that I'm being drawn to and how do they represent an aspect of me. She feels like the studious bookworm. This one feels like the beautiful nature lover. But they each have their own certain expression that I can connect to an emotion, a feeling. It's not dark enough. A part of self. And by adding my own color to these as opposed to just cutting out and using the printed faces, which I'm also doing and enjoying, I'm noticing that I'm cultivating a different relationship with them that feels fun and curious. And then it's going to inspire me to create dolls like the rest of the doll here. So that's where I would go next, is how do I create a doll body that is connected to her, right? That feels like each of these. The other thing about these Neocolors is you can also blend them with colored pencil. You could come in with some colored pencil over the top. And I did not drag my colored pencils out. I did drag out also some oil pastels to see if maybe could come in and do some highlights or color these also with oil pastels, which is another one of my favorite supplies. So I love her. There's something beautiful and sensual. Brighten up that flower. And you don't have to add water to these either. You can 100% use them as they are for that bolder spot of color there. So I really love both of those. I love this one down here that feels very bright-eyed and curious, like she really represents curiosity. So I think I will add some color to her and then maybe do a few on that other page. And again, I also, so I can see here, right, that if we're making a doll, her face is turned a little bit off to the side. So not all skin is pink or brown. It comes in every different beautiful shade. I tend to have an olive cast to my own skin, right? So what if I had some fun? Wicked is so popular right now. Maybe I need a green paper doll face. But what I'm thinking here is how can I blend some of these colors together to get a more olive cast to the skin? I don't know. Oh, maybe this one. Maybe there's something sort of French about her. I'm not sure what it is, but I definitely love the expression on her face. And then I'm just not going to color the ones that I'm not drawn to. So this isn't about having to have lots and lots of faces. It's about painting faces that speak to you. Get my brush nice and clean here. And my brush is damp, but it's not soaking wet. I don't want to soak this paper. Okay, so this one's going to be fun, funky colors. Oh, I love her, and I love those little bits of that bright peach popping through, so I might come back in and add even a little bit more of that, pull that back. And I may end up cutting a lot of this shape underneath off, but we'll get some of it going in there. Move that green. And because they're over the top of the clear gesso, which is a little gritty in texture, they almost end up looking a little bit like pastels, depending on how much you blend them. Okay, that's fun. And I love that the colors of all of them are so different. And now I'm definitely inspired to spend some time making some dolls from these faces. Looking at her hair, thinking, what color is her hair going to be? Oh, she's pretty. Pretty, pretty. I think she could also use just a little spot of maybe we'll give her some violet eyes. And when you start to color faces, this is a great way to learn the structure of a face, to get better at drawing faces. You start to notice where things are lined up. So it's a great way to have fun with faces. Like sometimes faces can be the most intimidating part of a person's creative practice. So think about if all you have to do is color it and you start to notice the texture, the shadows, how things are lined up. Definitely tiny brushes are really helpful here. Would also be fun to do this just with colored pencil, with Posca markers. But there's something about that clear gesso and the Neocolor II that are really speaking to me in terms of just the texture. Almost want her hair to be just a little bit red. So this clearly got some gesso on it, so I'm like, it's got to get that gesso off of there, or matte medium or something. Oh, that's better. And I love it because there's some transparency there, and I can still see some of the texture of those designs underneath as well. Just add a little bit of that red. Again, such good practice for coming in and playing with faces. I love all of these. This one's still filling, like she wants to just get brightened up just a little bit. Just some little highlights. Noticing that the gray scale of the paper, it's like she's a little more red than I wanted her to be. That's what she needed, was just a little bit of highlights there. On her nose, helps give just a little more shape and dimension to the face. That's better. Okay. Fun. So I'm going to try a couple of these with the oil pastels. I'm not sure what's going to happen. And I gonna pick a couple that I don't like as much, and let's just see what happens. So a friend gifted me a box of these Sennelier oil pastels. They are very, very soft and creamy. So they could be perfect or they could be challenging. We'll see. But I am really liking where they're going. Let's see. So this might be a fun one to try. How funky can I make them, right? So these can also be blended. So maybe she's got some blue hair. Maybe we're gonna come in and just imagine what's possible. Give that a little bit of those curls back. I think what I'm not gonna like, oops, I'm sorry, totally off screen there. What I'm not gonna like about these is they're very imprecise, right? With the other ones, I was able to get those hard edges, but these are really soft, although I am digging that blue hair. And I'm wondering, I bet I don't have any smudge sticks right here. Excuse me, so some smudge sticks or, oh yes I do. Ah, perfect. So let's try. So these are made for pencil. You can buy some that are a little stronger. The little stronger ones are that are made for chalk pastels will also work for oil pastels. Okay, now that's making me happy because I'm getting some really amazing blending and texture. You can also come in and simply use Q-tips for this process too. Sorry, I couldn't color apparently and talk at the same time. So the other thing to know about these is that they will spread a lot. So if I, come in and keep running my hands through them, I can get that color all over the edges of my hands where I may not want that color. So I want to just be mindful of that. So let's see. I want just a little bit of that color in there. Try some of this yellow ochre. Seems to be a good color for faces. There's no pale pink in here, and this set doesn't have a white either. So we're going to just go with what's in here. Maybe a little brown, a few spots under the shadow of that neck. Notice how that brown is just smudging right in there. So this is maybe not as neat as I would like, but we don't know until we try. These would actually be really fun now that I'm doing this with blended chalk pastel as well over the top of that gesso. So this is going to give me a completely different look and feel here than to the other dolls' faces. And I do like how creamy these are. Takes very little of the pigment to make them move around. And because these are oil pastels, I can't put other color on top of them, right? So once these are down, I can add more oil pastel, but I can't put paint or other medium. If I put matte medium over this, I could probably then come in and add more color if needed. Cleaning off that smudge stick. Okay, without this smudge stick, I'm not sure that I would have liked the way this came out at all. But being able to come in and sort of move that color around. It's definitely imprecise. So funny. As soon as I start adding color to these faces, I kind of fall in love with them, right? I start to get really curious about what's her story? What is it that she wants to tell me? Give her some really bold cheeks there. Can't really push that color back too much either. I was trying to get it back a little bit so that I could. I wonder if we can put color on here. I love having time in my studio where I get to just explore and experiment and play. This is someone who really loves that color blue. Oh, I love that look on her face. Very soulful. She's coming together. I think I'm going to leave her eyes dark. See if we can just. Oh, the pencil goes on it sort of okay here. Okay, I like her better than I thought I would, but if I'm working with her in the future as a paper doll, I need to remember that this color is going to move. This color over here is not going to move. Once it is dry, it dries permanent, but that's not true on the oil pastel, right? So it is a soft medium that will stay malleable. And once I cut her out, that will neaten up some of those edges as well. She needs some white back in the center. So I'm just curious if I can come in here over the top of that oil pastel very carefully. Some highlights back in her eyes. Let's do that up here too. Just coming in and bringing in that just starts to bring them to life a little bit more. Tip of the nose often has that little bit of extra color there. She has lost her irises here. So what if we came in with a black marker over the top of that Neocolor? Still pretty waxy. It doesn't love going on over the top there. And using that black, it's going to make her eyes really dramatic compared to the rest of her face. So I can just bring in a little bit of that black in a few other spaces as well. Don't need a lot of it. And I'm curious if this is, so that marker also when it dries, it'll dry permanent, but it's not permanent yet. So all of a sudden we get a little more drama happening. Brighten up the whites. Although I kind of like the white of the paper underneath. And then I'm going to come back over here to her because those teeth are too white, and we're just going to come in with that pencil again and give her some teeth like her mouth is open. So I love the look of this one with the oil pastel. Got a completely different look and impact, but I want that color to stay put. So it's all an experiment. I'm just curious. I don't have matte medium right here, but I still have my clear gesso. So I'm just going to come back in and see if now I have clear gesso all over my shirt. If I very carefully come in and brush that color, can I put a wash of color over here without smearing all of those colors together? So I'm touching the brush very lightly. I want to seal that color in. So it looks very, well, it's shiny because of the camera, but once that clear gesso dries, it will dry completely clear, and I'll be able to tell if that color is going to stay put or not. But out of the two different supplies, I think I would choose the Neocolor II over the oil pastel. But it was a fun experiment to play with both to give them a little bit of personality. So if you already have these paper faces, I recommend that you print them out in black and white and have some fun coloring them. Or if you don't have them, you can subscribe to our email list and we will send them all to you for free. There are pages and pages of them. These are just a few of the sample pages that I have been letting dry that all have the clear gesso on top of them now. I'm getting ready to do some inner child dolls, so I'm really drawn to this page of younger dolls, and I was really drawn to these beautiful crones as well. And notice how we talked about all of these faces are different sizes, right? So these are three different sizes of faces, meaning that they're going to fit on different sizes of dolls. But what I want to encourage you to do is just have some fun with these printouts and make them your own. Now, that being said, you could 100% do this with magazine images as well and do the exact same process. So I loved this beauty here. I cut her out of a magazine. I loved what she's wearing. I loved the beautiful look on her face. And to make her my own and not a photograph, I would do the same thing. I would paint over her with either clear gesso or matte medium, and then I would use acrylic paint to paint over the top of both of these to make those faces my own. So if you don't have the printouts, again, you can do this with any magazine image, and it's such a great way to get comfortable painting faces and also to have some fun making your own versions of your paper dolls. So here are some that are colored. That one is drying nicely and some yet to be colored, but I am going to take off for now. Just wanted to come in and get a few faces colored this afternoon, test out some new things, and I figured I might as well do it with company instead of sitting over here all by myself. Happy Sunday, my friends. Hope you're having a great day, and I can't wait to see what kind of faces that you create for your own paper dolls. You can tag me at Paper Doll, hashtag Paper Doll Chronicles over on Instagram and share what you're up to. Have a beautiful rest of your day, my friends. I don't know about you. I am off to watch the football playoffs with my hubby and spend some time working on some of these paper dolls while he's watching football. Have a beautiful day, everybody. Bye bye.